Minimum. Minimum, yes. No, it's not really an executive summary. It's basically considering what your strategy is and the things you're doing to execute the strategy. Tell me what the expectations are or were. What happened from all this? This is what should be happening. In conclusion, the expectation from proper execution of what has been described by this writer are the following. The company should become a market leader in this particular business segment, or whatever. Give me your conclusions. What are your expectations from your strategy plan? You're just pulling everything together in the last part of your paper. It's in about a half a page to a full page. Pull it all together. What's the expectation? That's a conclusion. I'm concluding that by doing this, this is what will happen. Make sense? I hope. The last thing, of course, is your reference page. 3 to 5 references, internet, books, magazines, periodicals, newspapers, personal interview. I don't care. You get them anywhere you like. Everybody uses internet because it's easy. Personal interviews are good. You get extra points for that, by the way. And your paper, I usually look at 3 things in your paper. I look at content, I look at format, and this is the format. And the last thing I look at is references. If you have no reference page, you lose points. If you only use one reference, and the reference you use are my slides, that didn't take a lot of effort, so you don't get full points for that. Okay? So I look at your paper from 3 different aspects, and that's where your grade comes from. The grades are posted on the Schiffley website, and you also will get my comments. I also upload those. So papers have to be submitted in Word format. No PDF, no write protected or anything. Has to be Word format. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, the papers that get the best grades usually are papers that include a well-written paper, well-developed paragraphs, not too many bullet points. I hate papers that have bullet points from beginning to end. That is laziness. A good paper should have well-developed paragraphs that flow from one to the next, not bullet points. Bullet points are okay at a minimum. At a maximum, they're sloppy. They don't make for an easy, readable paper, okay? And so you want to avoid too many bullet points. Paragraphs are what make a good research paper at the graduate level. Smooth flowing, okay? What was the other thing I was going to say? Oh. Your total word count, which is down in the bottom left of your page, when you're typing in Word, you want to keep it at least as close to 2,500 words as possible. If you go over 2,500, that's fine, all right? If you're under 2,500, if it's 150, 200 words short, it's probably, as long as the content's there, that's good. If you hand in a paper that's 600, 700, 800 words, it ain't going to cut it, I tell you right now. There's not going to be enough content to get you a higher grade. 2,500 words is really a minimum to develop a paper like this, and that counts everything you've typed. Counts in that 2,500 total words. Okay. Oh, I know the other thing I was going to say. Don't be afraid to use some graphics in your paper. Okay, to support your position. A graphic, whether it's a bar chart or a pie chart. Or things like that, that's good. I like those, and they actually give you a higher grade. All right? Putting little happy face pictures on each page, I get a lot of that. Doesn't do anything. It kind of, it's like I'm reading an 8th grade paper, okay, with little happy face. That doesn't really do anything for me, okay? No, it really has no impact. So when I talk about graphics, I'm not talking about clip art, okay? Everybody understand that? And also, if you're making a statement, let's say you're making a cost statement, and you want to show a graphic of the cost analysis, put it in the body of your paper. You don't have to stick it in the end of your paper and say, see attachment 1. I hate that. I'd rather have it in the body of the paper because it makes the point better, see? It loses impact when you stick it in the last, at the back of your paper. Now, if you want to put in tables and things like that, you want to have that at the end of your paper, that's okay. But don't be afraid to put graphics in the body of the paper as you're writing. I like that because it makes your paper more understandable and supportive. As always look at your paper, not how you are writing it, but how it's going to be perceived by your reader. You always have to keep that in mind when you're writing a research project, okay? That's it. I'm tired, all right? Everybody got enough of that? All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. We have to get back to our slides because we're really running out of time.
I can use my company vision and regional understand.
Sure. Yeah. No problem. Are you in healthcare? You're not in the healthcare group, are you? Healthcare? Okay, because healthcare doesn't do the paper. Okay, analyzing the organization. We're going to look at, again, competitive advantage. This comes up over and over again. The concept of the value chain, it's linked to competitive advantage, the role of organizational competencies, okay? Organization competencies. Competencies are basically what the organization does well. We'll look at resources, capabilities of an organization. We'll look at the technology in building and sustaining competitive advantage. So, the nature of competitive advantage, again, we saw this in the opening chapter. Competitive advantage is a characteristic, a feature, an opportunity that an organization possesses that will make it more attractive than its competitors. That's competitive advantage. My donuts sell better than my competitors' donuts. Maybe they're tastier, maybe they're more quality, maybe they're lower priced, whatever the case may be. I sell more donuts than my competitor, therefore I have a competitive advantage over my competitor for some reason. Quality, price, differentiation, whatever the case may be. Value is a product's performance, characteristics, and attributes for which customers are willing to pay. So, my donut may not be the cheapest, but because of the quality of the donut, or the size of the donut, or the variety of donuts, customers will pay my price. They'll come in, they buy my donuts. They taste better. They look better. They're bigger. Huh? Yeah, whatever the case may be. That's value. To a customer, that's value. Yeah, they're not the cheapest donuts in town, but you can't beat the guy's quality. You can't beat his variety. All of those things are customer value driven. It's not always price, okay? Whether it's donuts or whether it's computers, it makes no difference, all right? Business system comprises the resources, which are inputs from the supplier, activities, which are the throughputs, we already talked about these, so you already got advanced knowledge, and product service offerings, which are the outputs intended to create value for customers. That's called a business system. Simple. Input, throughput, output. If you can remember those three things, that's, like I said, that's a big chunk of the course right there. Okay? And it's different, of course, for every product, but the process is the same. Everybody has an input, everybody has a throughput, everybody has an output. The ability of an organization to develop a competitive advantage depends on their ability to position their business system in the business environment. Okay? So where does my input, throughput, output position myself in a business environment with other competitors? Where is my advantage? My advantage may be on the input side. Maybe I get better raw materials. Maybe I get better materials at lesser cost. Maybe my throughput, okay, my assembly, my product improvement, whatever I'm doing in my throughput, that may be where my capability or strength is over my competitor. Maybe I have a better workforce, more trained, more knowledgeable, more intellectually efficient than my competitor. So where is it? How do I position myself in the business environment? If the donuts is my business environment, where do I have an advantage? Input, throughput, or output? Maybe my distribution is better. Maybe I can get my products to market faster than my competitor. That may be my business niche, if you will. So even if you're very competitive with other people, maybe you're competitive on inputs, you're fairly competitive together on throughputs, where does one company have an advantage? Okay? The advantage may be delivery time. Okay? It may be on the output side. If I can get the same product that my competitor makes in quality and cost, but my competitive advantage is delivery time or distribution, that's an output advantage. So where is it? Is the advantage in the input, the throughput, or the output? Does that make sense? Yeah. So that's how companies compete. Not everybody has a better product. Okay? If I'm looking at computers, a good example. You look at a Dell, you look at an HP. All right, some people buy a Dell because they have loyalty to the brand. All right? And some people buy an HP because maybe we've been using HP for years. All right? But so if you look at an HP and you look at a Dell computer, are they fairly similar in price? Pretty much. Okay? Are they fairly similar in technology? Yeah. One has i5, i3, i7 technology, whatever it is. Okay? Fairly similar. All right? So the inputs are pretty much the same. The throughputs are pretty much the same. So really the only advantage of a Dell over an HP has got to be on the output side. And what is that advantage? I don't know if they still have this. But you used to be able to order a Dell computer online and customize it. Instead of going to the store and buying one off the shelf, I can order a Dell. I actually have total control over the operating system that it comes with, the size of the hard drive, what kind of software, what kind of speakers, what kind of Bluetooth, and so on. I can actually pick all those different elements and have that computer custom made for me. Does HP offer that? No, you just kind of pick what they have available, okay? The point being, okay, my competitive advantage from a Dell computer point of view isn't on inputs, throughput, it's on the output side, the customer side. The customer has more selectivity, more ability to customize their product according to exactly what they want. Okay? Everybody understand that? I don't even know if Dell still offers that. They used to. I don't know if they still have that ability. But you used to be able to go in and, I want this, and you could pick everything you wanted, even down to the sound system and so on. Okay? So, product service offerings. Now we look at segmentation. We kind of talked about it before. So segmentation is the process that divides people with similar needs into identifiable groups. So if I identify a particular market area, okay, Northern Europe is my market, what's the segmentation? What specific groups are buying what specific products with what specific features? So market segments are the group of customers with similar criteria for buying decisions and or similar buying behaviors. Positioning in the market is the process of focusing an organization's business system to satisfy certain needs of a targeted market segment of customers to distinguish the organization from its competitors. So we look at toothpaste, Northern Europe. I know that the market segmentation is dependent upon different age groups. So the age groups in Europe, I have a younger group using one type of toothpaste, I have a middle-aged group using another one, and then I have my older toothless group. Do they prefer toothpaste? No, they prefer something like Polident, where they can take their dentures out, throw them in a glass, throw a little fizzy tablet in there, and they get cleaned. That's segmentation, okay? Each product has a specific segmented market. Now, how do I know from the segmented older group that they prefer a simple tablet you drop in a glass to clean their dentures versus taking, I know this is kind of gross, taking their teeth out and cleaning them with a brush? How do I know that group prefers the Fizzy tablet? Through positioning. Okay? Positioning is the process of focusing an organization's business system to satisfy certain needs of a targeted market segment. Okay? To distinguish the organization from its competitors. So I may do it by price, product, features, or quality, availability, image, or bundling. Bundling is where I sell more things together as more of a complete product. Like a computer company, computer manufacturer, sells you a bundled product. You buy a computer, it's got an operating system for Microsoft, it's got Microsoft Windows and Microsoft Excel, and it's bundled. Or you get a bunch of these cheesy software CDs that you never use. Okay, that's bundling. But the product positioning is, how do I know, okay, that older group prefers the tablet over brushing their dentures with a brush? How am I going to find that out? Anybody got an idea? Surveys, questionnaires, absolutely. How many times do you buy a product, particularly like whether it's a hair dryer or anything like that? You buy a product and a card comes with it. Part of the card is your warranty, and on the back of the warranty card they ask you a bunch of silly questions. Why did you buy this product? What's your average age? What's your average income? Blah, 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 blah. They ask you all those questions. How many people have seen those? Okay? Yeah. You know, what made you buy our product? And they ask you all these questions. And you always say, why do they do that? That's a survey. That's to position their product in a market. They already know your segment. They know what, they know you're buying the product, but they want to make sure that the product has the features that are going to attract more people in your group. Whether that group be by age, whether it be by gender, whether it's by culture, by religion, makes no difference. Segmentation identifies the group. Positioning identifies the specific features that group wants. Make sense? That's why they find out. How old are you? What features of this product attracted you that made you buy this product? What additional features might you like to see on this product? Okay, so if you have a hair dryer, well, I bought the hair dryer because it has 3 different levels of heat. It has 3 blower volumes, okay? It has that, what do they call that, ionization that they put in hair dryers now to reduce frizz. See, I know all this stuff. What features would you like to see? I'd like to see an extra high temperature feature so while I'm drying my hair, I could also heat up my coffee. Because I'm a middle-aged working guy and I don't have a lot of free time. So if they're positioning their product for the middle-aged working guy, that's a feature they might build into positioning. Okay? So you identify the market, then you identify the segmentation of the market, then you find out what are the features that particular segmented part of the market, what do they want, what are they looking for? That's product positioning. What makes your hair dryer better than the competition in that market? Ours heats up your coffee. Theirs doesn't. It only dries your hair. Okay? Everybody see that? Everybody got it? Do you like my examples? Yes, he didn't. By what? Availability? Yeah, it could be lead time on, if I order something, how long do I have to wait for it to be delivered? Okay, availability. When you're positioning a product, a person may be willing to pay more money. A person may be looking, quality may not be their critical component. I need it and I need it fast. Okay? So the positioning of my product in a particular segmented market is getting it to you quicker. That for you is your value. Not so much the price, not so much the quality, but I need it in a hurry. Okay? I need it yesterday. So I find out from targeting a particular part of the segmented market that this particular segmentation of the market, their biggest product feature is getting it quickly. or having more variety on the shelves, all right? That's your positioning of the product. Getting it done quickly, or if it's a customized product, getting it to you more quickly than a competitor can get it to you. That's how I position it. So if you buy my product, I'll get it to you in a week. If you buy their product that you ordered, it takes a month. See the difference? That would be availability, time frame, and so on. Positioning. So when we segment the market, pay attention to this one because you might see an exam question like this. I'm contemplating this one. Yeah, well, like I said in the beginning of this course, a big chunk of strategy is marketing. Big chunk of strategy is marketing. Marketing, I think I told you that, marketing and research and development are the two biggest players in strategy. They really are. More so even than the finance side, okay? So when we look at market segmentation, I have to look at demographics. If I'm selling toothpaste or I'm selling cigarettes, makes no difference. In Asia, who am I segmenting? I have to look at age and income. Those are demographic features. If I'm looking at socioeconomic, I'm looking at family life, cycle, and social class, because that also has a great deal to do with segmentation, okay? People who are heavily involved in more family life have a tendency to buy a particular product over another. All right? Geographic factors, national and regional differences. Psychological factors are lifestyle and personality. Psychological factors, what does that mean? Lifestyle and personality. That gets back into our Gucci bags. Okay? Gucci bags, if I'm segmenting a market for Gucci bags, my customers in the middle-age, young to middle-age group, okay? That's my business segment, all right? I'm after them. I know that people that are between, let's say 25 and 45, okay, will buy a Gucci bag. Why? Is it a better bag than the competitor's bag? No. They're buying it because of lifestyle and personality, okay? Image has a lot to do with it. Fashion statement, okay? So those are what we call psychological factors of segmentation. If you don't think companies use all of those things, it also falls into perceptual factors also, okay? It's kind of a mix between psychological and perceptual. Let's finish these up. So consumption patterns are the people buying my product regular purchasers, moderate, or occasional users? I have to determine that, okay? And perceptual factors are, what are the perceived benefits of a particular product? Now, there may not really be realistically benefits, but what are the perceived benefits? Meaning, what does the customer think that the benefits of buying this product over another one are? Could be image, could be logo, could be brand. It could be, a perception of better quality, all right? I mean, is a BMW have more quality than a Toyota? You could argue that, but from a perception, if I pay more for the car, then it's got to be better quality. That's a perceptual benefit, okay? So if I pay a lot, I pay 3 times as much for a BMW than I do for a Toyota, doesn't mean that BMW is going to give me any better service than the Toyota. Yes, it may have better features, okay? It costs a whole lot more. Does it get me to my destination any better than the BMW or the Toyota? Is there a difference in? No, there isn't. There's definitely a difference in cost. There's definitely a difference in add-ons. But from a quality perception, could you say a BMW car, quality to quality, has more quality than a Toyota? You could argue the point. Does a Toyota engine last as long as a BMW engine? In many respects, it may last longer. Okay? So benefits. Many people, and the bad news is companies that sell items, whatever they are, to customers, okay, they're psychoanalyzing you. They know everything there is about you. How many people go to Carrefour? I'll give you an example, okay? You notice about 12 months ago, Carrefour started this customer card thing? You know, they did this in the U.S. years ago, and I didn't fall for it then. I didn't fall for this either. Why do you think they have a customer card? They have a customer card because when you go online, what do you put in there? You put in your name, your age, your income level. Don't put your exact income, but you put your level of income, so on and so on and so on. So why? So the con part of this, if you're looking at it from a con job. Everybody know what a con job is? It's the, you know, it's the perception. The perception is by using this card every time I buy something. Watch my thing black out again. Every time I go to Carrefour, I use this card. The perception that you have as a customer is, oh yeah, I'm building points for free merchandise. Has anybody ever cashed any of those points in? Yes. Oh really? Okay. All right. Fine. But what are they doing with all that data? Okay? They know exactly what you are buying. They know where your priorities are. They know how frequently you buy certain items. Okay? And so on and so on and so on. Do you really want somebody collecting that information on you in a big database? My response is no. Which is why I never use that card. And every time I go in there, do you have your card? And I said, no, I don't use it. Would you like to fill out a new one? I said, no, I don't use it. I says, it's none of your business tracking what I buy. Okay? But that's how they use it. They use it in this kind of a process, market segmentation. Because you wonder, how does a company know? How do they know what to market? How do they know what groups to target? You are all guilty of doing this. So when you fill out those little cards, when you buy something, that's one way. The more popular way, the sneaky way, is these customer cards. Oh, it's a preferred customer card. Yeah. So what they're giving you back in points is nothing compared to the data that they're collecting on you. So everything you bought for the past year is in somebody's database somewhere. Okay? Right? That negligee you guys bought, it's on record now. Okay? So, those are all the segmentation factors. So, I might ask you a question, you know, give me what are 4 market segmentation and describe them, and that would be, and everything you need to know is on that slide. Okay? That might be a question, something like that. Let's move on. Oh, God, we're running out of time. Value chain. A value chain is a template that identifies the activities of a company from raw materials over here to customer. The value added by each activity, the cost of each activity that facilitates implementation of business-level strategy. That's from your book. So a value chain starts with the inputs from the supplier. It continues with the throughputs, because when I'm doing throughput, what am I doing? I'm building value into the original raw material. I'm turning it into a value-added process. And then the output is when I sell that value-added process to a customer for a profit. That basically is the value chain. Input, throughput, output. Okay? Very simple. This is not rocket science. Now, if you take an economics course, they'll go into a lot of detail and a lot of graphics and theories. We don't need to know that. The simple thing for strategy is, how do I increase my value chain? I increase it on the input side, the throughput side, or the output side. That's my strategy. Do I want to improve inputs? Do I want to improve process, throughput? Or do I want to improve something that's going back out to the customer? Okay? Interlinked value-adding activities that convert inputs into outputs, which in turn add to the bottom line, help create competitive advantage. That's from the Business Dictionary. If you like Investopedia which is a good online site. There's some interesting stuff in there. A high-level model of how businesses receive raw material as input, add value to the raw materials through various process, throughput, and sell finished products to customers. All three of those basically are saying the same thing. Input, throughput, output. That's a value chain, okay? And there's a lot of people involved in that value chain. Does everybody understand that? Yeah, it's not hard. It's really not. So value chain, primary and support. Primary activities are directly associated with production, delivery, sales, and service. So you have inbound logistics, you have operations, throughput, and then you have outbound logistics, okay? Those are the three steps. So support activities are actions that enable primary activities to take place. So what allows input or inbound operations and outbound to take place? Support activities. Your internal activities are what support this. Human resources, procurement. Why is procurement a support activity? What do procurement people do? Yeah, they buy the inputs. Okay? That's why they're a support activity. If I'm going to buy things from suppliers, I have procurement people that negotiate the best price or the quantity or whatever the case may be. That's where they fall. Human resources is involved in the throughput. They have to hire the right people that can work in the process and add value. Okay? The last one, of course, the infrastructure itself. And technology oversees everything. Technology is involved in all three: input, throughput, output. Technology is kind of like the cover over the whole thing, okay? So if we look at, there's that guy again, Porter, once again, Porter's value chain. So what does Porter's value chain do? It deals with this inbound, outbound philosophy. So we look at support activities and primary activities. So the primary activities are inbound logistics. He just changed the word from inbound logistics to inputs. Same thing. Inbound logistics, operations, which is throughput, outbound logistics, marketing and sales, which oversees this whole thing for the most part. They're the ones that make this happen. And the last thing is a level of service. Those are all primary activities. So marketing comes in before the product is sold. We have to decide where it's going to go. Sales sells the product. That's on the outbound side. Service is after sales. It's still an outbound or an output. So sales and service could be a competitive advantage for some organizations. If your inputs are the same, your throughputs are the same, delivery could be a competitive advantage, or service. Do we service what we sell? That also can be a competitive advantage on the output side. So if we look at the support activities that make this all work, again, it's procurement or purchasing, technology development, human resources, and your overall organization infrastructure. What holds our organization together? What makes all this value chain work? That's our infrastructure, okay? That's Porter's value chain. So if we're going as an arrow, what's the final deliverable here? We have inputs, we have throughputs, we have outputs, we have support services, but what's the bottom line here? Financial point of view, profit, or what they call, or Porter calls, margin. What's our margin? So margin is basically we take the cost of all this, we subtract the cost of all this from what we sell an item for, and that percentage of difference is our margin. Okay? If you come up with a hard number, it's profit. If you come up with a percentage, it's margin. So after all our costs are factored in, from inputs through outputs, okay, the percentage of profit is our margin. Might be 8%, might be 10%, okay?
Margin is before taking into consideration the other elements of the cost of the product.
The margin, yeah.
After taking the allocations of
The margin is after all of that is calculated in. Then you have your margin, okay? The profitability, yeah. So, a lot of companies, if they're making 8% margin in like a service business, that's considered a pretty good margin after expenses, okay? So competencies and competitive advantage. In order to build a competitive advantage, organizations need to identify what are we good at? What do we do well? Okay? What capabilities do we possess for competing against rivals? So competence is the product of learning and experience that represents proficiency in performing an internal activity. All a competency is a particular skill or ability that we do well. Competitive capability is a competence that is appreciated by customers and distinguishes the organization from its rivals. So, our competence or our competency or core competency is what we do well as a company. Now, there's no distinguishing between a core competency against another competitor. That's not what we're talking about. A core competency is what we do well internally as opposed to everything we do. If we do 10 different things, the top 3 things we do the best are our core competencies. The bottom 7 are what we don't do as well. There's no relativity between that and what our competitors do. When we look at core competencies, we're only looking at what we do well as a company. Maybe it's our service. Maybe it's our technology. Maybe it's our research and development and design. Okay? Maybe it's our quality. What are our strongest competencies? And usually what a lot of companies do is they identify what their best competencies are and what they do the best, and then what they do the worst, they outsource. Why spend money, time, and resources on what we do lousy? Hospitals. Hospitals have had to come in with more efficiency. What do hospitals do best? Well, some have good nursing staff, some good doctors, good surgical, good after-surgical processes, and so on. What do they do lousy? Food? Probably. Janitorial? They're spending a lot of money on it, but it's one of their weaker points. So what do they do with food preparation and janitorial? They outsource it. Let's concentrate on what we do well, make it more efficient, and let's outsource what we don't do well. That's what a lot of organizations are doing, okay? So that's what we're talking about, competency. So there are 2 different types. So core competencies are what companies do well internally, okay? Distinctive competencies are what companies do well in respect to their competition. So I want you to make sure you understand the difference. Core competencies, we're only comparing internally what our strongest processes are, our strengths. Those are our core competencies. If I compare our core competencies to our rivals, then it becomes a distinctive competency. So, I may have, my strongest core competency may be technology. My second strongest core competency may be the time to get something to market. If I look at my competitor, my strongest core competency may not be my distinctive competency against my competitive. It might be number 2 or number 3. Maybe my time to market is much better than my rival, then that also becomes my distinctive competency. Core competencies, what I do best internally. Distinctive competencies, what I do best in relation to my competitor. Everybody got that? You see the difference? It's all spelled out there, so you can always go back and review that slide. Huh? Yeah, it could be a differentiation. It could be. That could be a distinctive competency. Maybe your technology far surpasses your rivals. And because of that technology, you add more product value. That would be your distinctive competency, yeah. But the technology could also be your core competency, or it might be number 2 or number 3, as compared against your internal competencies. Okay? So one compares internally, distinctive compares your internal competency to your rivals. Okay? An example? Didn't I just give one? Okay. My number one competency is technology. My second strongest competency internally is the time it takes me to get my product to market. Those are two core competencies internally. Externally, against my rival, they have about an equal level of technology. So there's no distinctive competency there. But my time to market, which is number two internally, is number one externally. My time to market is faster than theirs, so it becomes a distinctive competency against my rival. You see? You compare them internally, and then you compare them against your competition. Resources of a company normally are tangible, intangible, and human. So tangible are easiest to identify: financial resources, physical assets, things we can see, things we can feel, we can touch. Okay? Intangible resources are sometimes more valuable than tangible, but they're largely invisible. So what are some of the intangible resources that companies have? Brand names, reputation, the technology, intellectual property. Can we feel those? Can we touch those? No. But they actually have a level of value more so sometimes than the tangible. Okay? When we see, a brand name, we see Mercedes, what do we think of? We think of quality, we think of functionality, we think of good design, and so on and so forth. That's an intangible resource, okay? The human side, of course, is what level of expertise does a company have? People, knowledge, skills, and abilities, KSAs. It's not Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Okay? It's knowledge, skills, and abilities. What level do they have? What effort do employees put in? Are our employees engaged? Are they motivated? Those are company resources. The people of a company are sometimes one of its greatest resources. Its greatest strengths are people. Okay? We're going to leverage what we do best, according to Hamill. He's in your book. How do we leverage the competency? How do we leverage what we do best? Or worst? We may decide being smaller is better, so we look at innovation, cost management, restructuring, and maintaining an appropriate size. Our best competency is service. If we get too big, our service will decline. We lose our competency. So some companies may have a better strategy of, we're better off staying the size we are. We don't need to grow. This is good what we're doing. Being better. Some companies want an ability to improve their process, continuous improvement, more innovation, more efficiency, so their strategy is to be better. Some companies want to just be different, so we want to come up with more innovation, more business regeneration strategies, so we'll move from this particular product to a different product. Let's build our business around being different from the other guy. Okay? What's that? Oh, KSA? I'm sorry. Knowledge, skills, and abilities are KSAs. So, what core competencies the organization develops will reflect specifically on stakeholders on which the company focuses, the resources available, core competencies, and key success factors. An organization's direction will determine what competencies it will require. So if I know my vision, I know where I want to go, and I know how I'm going to get there, then I can work on my core competencies that are necessary to carry me through that strategy. What do we need to do best internally? That's how we develop strategy. This slide, market, product versus core strictly for your information. Not on the exam. It's just a resource slide I threw in there. It's because it's a good resource to have in your program. So it's strictly for research if you need to look at that later. Capitalizing on our competitive advantage. So competition for industry, foresight, and intellectual leadership. We want to gain advantage over competitors by increasing the knowledge of the industry. If competition is to reduce development time, then we want to mobilize knowledge and technology and turn concepts into workable products. Improving efficiency is a way of gaining competitive advantage. Market position and market share. Portion of market share and well-respected brand name enables organization to lead in the industry. So if our strategy is competitive advantage through market share, then we have to look at our brand name and increasing it. Oh, the last slide. Competing through technology. Technology change can be a great equalizer that neutralizes advantages of incumbents and creates opportunities for newcomers or substitutes. So, leveraging technology creates advantages in various areas. So what we're saying here is even if you're finding it difficult to break into a new market or to compete against a competitor, oftentimes you can gain a competitive advantage through technology. Technology is a great equalizer, okay? Technology can overcome smaller budgets. Technology can overcome market share. Technology can overcome a lot of things. If you lead in technology, there's a competitive advantage. If you're as an entry barrier, you can gain entry to a market if you lead in technology. It gives you more customer power. It can give you more supplier power. It lowers industry boundaries. It lowers competitor rivalry. And also can help with substitution of products when you lead in technology. So technology, basically what they're saying, breaks through a lot of these issues. It's a leader, okay? I think we're done. Right on the mark, 12 o'clock. So, don't forget your homework assignment next week. Hard copy. You'll hand it in to one of the folks outside. They will collect them. Have a good week.